if you're somebody mm, if you're somebody who loves your parents, your mother, your father, your siblings, your friends, but feel like they don't love you back enough, only thing that you lack is love for yourself. Instead of considering it as something that you lack, realize that you just don't belong to those people because they don't love you, because they don't make you feel loved enough. That's all. Instead of considering it as something tragic and reeling in it and reading this uh, sad quotes, listening to sad songs, it's better. It's hard only because the idea of, okay, this is my family, so that's why it has to be this way. The idea of that thing is the only reason that's stopping you from loving yourself more and looking at something that's not making you happy. Basically, what I'm trying to say, when you reach a place of realization that I'm a soul, for some reason I'm being born in this family, I love them, but they don't love me back. If that is your case, I'm only speaking to such people. And even those people who think their family is suffocating them, not understanding them, their family misunderstands them, do a lot of toxic things, but they still feel loved here and there. That is not love. That is toxicity. That is your parent, sibling trying to control you. The moment you say no when they expect yes from you, will they be able to love you? If yes, then that is actually love. If they expect yes from you for whatsoever reason in any kind of a situation, if you say no, especially when it's important things, if they still love you, that is actually loving family. If you say no when they expect yes, and if they start to say XYZ, that is a toxic family. They love you because you say yes to them, to certain things. It's a form of control to keep their children, their siblings in their control, because if you keep abusing somebody, they will run away. Just like pulling them, pushing them, pulling them, pushing them. So understand what situation that you are in your life. Instead of crying over, I love them, they don't love me back. Take it as a hint from the universe and start loving yourself. Even if they don't love you, or even if you feel like they don't love you or doesn't support you and pick somebody else over you every single time, it's your job to love yourself. At least start loving yourself, even if nobody is there to love you. Making decisions based on what makes you happy. There are certain things we can do. Practicing self-love. Choose things, make decisions based on self-love, self-respect, self-worth, being authentic to your heart, following your heart, listening to your intuition. Whether you're a religious person, non-religious person, a believer or a seeker, whatever you are, it doesn't matter whether you believe in God or not. Believe that divine is there. It has nothing to do with any religion to support you if you ask for help. They will always provide you that insight about what is right for you, what is not right for you, which is always connected to your heart. So such people who always listening to these sad songs, complain to their friends about their toxic family, this is your sign from the divine. One thing that you can do is coming out of that codependency, because toxic family trait is they trap their kids in control system in some way, whether it's financially, emotionally, or some way. They trap their kids in their family and they do not let those kids go away from their control. So becoming financially independent, becoming emotionally independent on yourself without getting angry on them is a trick. Understand, they suffered in their life. Because of that reason, they become somebody like that. It's acceptable, but you did not cause them to suffer. Their suffering is not because of you. So it's better for any children in such family to realize that the parents who are toxic is toxic because of they were born into such toxic family and they were suffered because of their own parents and their grandparents and such. But it is not our responsibility to feel sorry for such toxic people. It's our responsibility to come out of such toxicity, heal ourselves. In order to do that, becoming financially independent and not letting anybody take decisions for us if it is bad for us, making a decision from our heart for our own self, whatever decision it is. And being financially independent helps to say no even if they are expecting you to say yes. Financially independent. Being financially independent helps a lot to say no to such parents or siblings or any guardians, even grandparents and such. Being financially independent also helps to do anything that makes us happy, that actually heals us from our childhood trauma that we experienced as a child. That is why many people, when they become financially independent, they try to do such things when they wanted to do when they were kids. Simple things. Go there, do that, buy this, buy that. They wanted it when they were kids. They couldn't do it because their parents stopped it from happening. They were not allowed. Whatsoever reason. So when somebody becomes financially independent, that is how they heal themselves, by doing even the smallest of the things. Even to buy something that their parent restricted them from buying, not because it's expensive or something, because their parents think it was not needed or something like that. So that healing the child version of yourself is very important in healing. Forgiving your parents is also essential, but not letting them back into your life to control you again is also very, very much important. Forgiving them without them asking for any kind of apology is very important. It's like that if a snake bites you, do you expect a snake to come back and ask you for forgiveness? You just don't do that, isn't it? You just go for a solution. That's how it is with any kind of a toxic people in your life. You see the pattern, you see them exactly how they are, and falling in love with your own self, valuing yourself, having a very good self-worth helps people do that. And there are a lot of people who know that they don't want to be in that kind of family or with that kind of people, whether it's platonic relationship, romantic relationship, even marriage. The one thing that gives people ability to walk away is financial independence, whether it's a man or a female. So being and remaining financially independent helps come out of that codependency. As it's also important that emotional independence also very important. Means we have to remember that we are also responsible for our own happiness. You cannot depend on everyone else for your happiness. If you give that right to someone else, it becomes evident for that person that they have the right to make you sad as well. So it's in our hand to give that right to somebody else or not to give that right to somebody else to make us happy or sad, because if we depend on that person to make us happy, they also have the right or ability to make us sad as well. So to a certain extent, making ourselves happy is our job. If someone is wrong for us, keeping them away is our job, no matter how much we like them, love them. That is why people suffer, because their understanding of what love is, what life is, what relationship is. Well, I love them, that's why I'm keeping them, but they're bad for me. But I'm still enduring it because I love them, because you lack self-love. Because anybody who loves themselves will never let any wrong person walk into their life. Sometimes it becomes difficult to those people who grow up in a toxic family because they never learn to fall in love with themselves. Because every time when they choose to say no or follow their heart, try to be authentic, they were always criticized for being that, called selfish, or there are 1,000 things that parents can say. Disobedient, this and that, religious purpose, social purpose, cultural values. You can do whatever. That negative indoctrination comes from such family, religious beliefs, cultural beliefs, social beliefs, and family teachings. All of those toxicity is toxicity. Choosing ourselves is never wrong when we just want to protect ourselves. When we are not trying to harm somebody, but instead we are trying to protect ourselves from something harmful. That is self-preservation, that is not selfishness. Even if somebody else calls you selfish, that doesn't have to be that way. For example, if you're somebody who says yes to everybody easily and suddenly you start saying no People may call you selfish. Does that mean you're selfish? You're not. You just realize that you just learn to say no. When your plate is empty, if somebody else asks you to give everything that you have to them, will you be able to give that? Maybe one time, two time. What if that kind of thing happens to you for the rest of your life? People cannot live that way. So it's better to learn to protect what's ours and not to give our things to others, and to create our own happiness by filling our own cup first. And anybody who makes us happy, that is additional. So what I'm trying to say is, there are a lot of people who were born in toxic family who doesn't distinguish between true love from a parent that comes without any selfishness, and that conditional love comes to you from a toxic parent. Even if you love your parents, you have to ask yourself, is it good for you to love them when they don't love you back unconditionally? Instead of getting angry, it's better to focus on you, your life, your healing, to come out of such controls by not arguing with them, not giving them any chance to argue, not to believe in a single negative thing that they throw at you. There are a lot of people who curse their children's life. You will know once you have your daughter, your son, you'll know this kind of things. This is normal because that's what they learned from their own parents. So you don't have to believe that. Just not engaging them with them is best, and not giving them any chance to blast off these kind of things, but instead coming out of that kind of a control is best. Becoming financially independent and choose people who are right for you. It's better to be alone than being with wrong people. Make you feel guilty for being whatever you are, calling you less or wrong, whatever. We only need to validate ourselves. We don't need any validation from outside. That is when we are actually healed in so many ways, because then we can attract people. We don't have to chase anybody. It becomes easier when we love ourselves. We come to a place of absolute self-acceptance. This is what I am. I'm good enough. I'm not chasing anybody's approval. I'm not chasing anybody's validation. I'm not chasing anybody for anything. That is not an ego, but just an understanding that I'm good enough. So people who can be in this place where they're always alone, but they're happy being alone because they're financially independent, they're emotionally independent, their heart is not closed off, they're trying to heal themselves. They spend their time in a positive way instead of trying to adjust with toxic people. It's better to be that. So never feel sad or depressed for not having loving people in your life. At least it's up to you to love yourself. It's always better to go for the solution instead of crying over these kind of things. You won't just keep crying if a snake bites you, isn't it? You will go for solution. That's how life is. That's how life should be. This is the way of life. And remembering that you're not just a human, but a soul in a human body, it helps. You are XYZ to someone else because of this life. That's how it's been. What about last life? What about previous life? How many parents you had until today? Are you obliged to do every single thing for every single person that comes to your life? No, right? To certain people, if somebody stranger comes to you and tells you to give up every single thing, will you give up? No, right? Why? Because it's not good for you, because you don't love them. Then you realize that this is not good for you. So that love for others is the reason that makes any person sacrifice themselves. In an equal relationship, when there is a equal give and take, means if you're sacrificing yourself for somebody and they do the same for you without you asking for it, that's actually good because it's equal give and take. You take care of them, they take care of you. So even if you don't care for yourself that much, that's fine. But if you're somebody who's always give, sacrifice and say, it melts your heart when somebody says you are such a good person. You are a good person for them because it's convenient for them. It's okay to be called as a bad person. when they think you're a selfish person and you're just trying to protect yourself from their selfishness. Until people, until you don't do things out of malice, as long as you remain benevolent towards yourself, be kind to and gentle to yourself, forgiving towards yourself, and make decisions without any ego but out of self-love, that's fine, as long as it goes that way. Only out of self-love, not out of ego or any malice. Protecting ourselves is our job, no matter who it is. We have to remember that God is within all of us, whether you believe in God or not. There is something within us that's divine. So loving ourselves is something that we have to learn one day or another day. People who are born into a toxic family are not taught to love themselves. They're always in a mode of people pleasing, trying to be the good daughter, the good son, even if they don't want to. It's forced on them, it's manipulated out of them. They were raised to be compliant. They lived in a mode of, doing things so their parents wouldn't neglect them, their parents wouldn't abandon them, wouldn't abuse them. So that coping mechanism, uh, making people, people pleasers, not being able to stand up for themselves, not being able to say no to such parents and siblings, it's a sign of that dependency, codependency. We are not here to please others if they are selfish towards us. It's our job to be there for ourselves as well. If someone is bad for you, whether you love them or not. That is the difference someone has to understand, instead of reading these quotes and singing songs and being melancholic and such. It's very hurtful, because kids are, especially kids who are empathetic, who felt black sheep in their own family, not understood, not supported, not accepted, always felt like out of the place, misunderstood, always criticized. No matter what they do, it's not enough for their family, and always blamed for every single thing, whether they do it or not. If you ask for permission and then do it, it's wrong, because parents saying, well, you don't know how to make a decision on yourself, and when they do it on themselves, they're still blamed. Well, you're so much disrespectful, you make your own decision without asking us. So no matter what it is, it's never enough for such parents or guardians, even grandparents or siblings. If you're one of those people, it's better to stop listening to what their expectation of you. Stop listening to them is better. If they say you're selfish, you're cruel, no. Unless you're intentionally hurting them, until you're remaining benevolent, you make decisions keeping your ego away, but only out of self-love, self-respect. Having a high value of yourself means self-worth, and choosing your heart, trying to be authentic to yourself. It's our job to be that and make decisions based on all of those things, and that's fine. Making a decision based on ego or malice is completely different. That is wrong. So it's very much understandable that these people are brainwashed. Their brain doesn't know anything better. They don't know how it feels to be loved unconditionally. That conditional love is the reason they are confused. They don't know whether it's toxicity or love. They think it's love because it's given here and there, and they don't feel loved at a certain time in their life. That is not love, that is just a control. So if you're one of those people, it's better to come out of such control system, toxicity, and it's also very important that we heal from such a generational curse. So we wouldn't have to transfer that to our kids. Instead of crying over those kind of things, it's better to come out of that and choose what's right for us. I hope it helps.